Hey guys, welcome to your channel. We are already discussing beginners answer writing guidance series. Link will be given in the description box of the earlier video. You can go to my earlier video and check it. And in this video, we are going to discuss how to develop a mindset or thought process for UPSC. Before starting preparation for UPSC or before beginning to write answers for UPSC, first every aspirant need to adopt a particular kind of mindset or need to develop a particular kind of thought process coping up with the requirement of the UPSC exam. This video tries to give a hint regarding this mindset as demanded by UPSC. Generally, we have found many videos regarding the preparation regarding notes, but generally we have found less videos regarding how to prepare yourself, how to prepare your mindset as demanded by UPSC. So this video is an attempt in this regard to show you a path that how to develop the mindset for UPSC. For that, you have to adopt a particular kind of thought process, a particular kind of habits in your everyday life. You have to include these things in your everyday routine. These are not very difficult. If you make them a part of your daily life, then obviously you will develop a particular kind of trait required by UPSC. So let's see them. First and the foremost thing is that the way we think everyday life. Generally, in what way we think that matters. And this is so important that if you are an UPSC aspirant, your thought process or the way you have observed a particular thing, the way you have thought about a particular kind of incident must have to be different from the thought process or must have to be different from the way of thinking by a common man. Right. So what does that mean? I say that the way as a UPSC aspirant, the way of a UPSC aspirant have to be different from the way of a common people regarding the consideration of any incident. So how it is different? So when you are a UPSC aspirant, you have to think everything under a particular ambit of constitution, ethics, society, administration. That means when a particular discussion is going on, in normal situation, people say, a person will say the Supreme Court is corrupted, right? But as a UPSC aspirant, you cannot totally agree to this argument, right? That Supreme Court is not corrupted. Means as a UPSC aspirant, you have to think something under the ambit of constitution, ethics, society, administration. That means the way we are thinking something in our everyday life must have to be in consonance with particular orders. But at the outset, an aspirant cannot think about everything in consonance with all these aspects. But gradually you go into the syllabus, but gradually you became familiarized with the syllabus. You need to adopt a particular process of thinking in consonance with these aspects. That means the way we have thought about something, the way we are viewing a situation must have to be different from the way of a common people. A common person will not go into the depth of the situation. He will give you very shallow remarks. But as a UPSC aspirant, your decision, your view, or your way of thinking must have to be in depth. And in that point comes point 2. That the way we analyze, right? Once we learn to think differently, the next step, what we have to do is the way we analyze, right? I already told you, a common person will say that Supreme Court is corrupted, but if you are a UPSC aspirant, you have to counter argument this, right? That you have to produce counter productive argument. Right, you have to say that we also how Supreme Court is corrupted. In what point? How? On what grounds you are saying Supreme Court is corrupted? That means in-depth analysis and a kind of maturity. You have to adopt these things for UPSC preparation. Your way of thinking must have to be different. Your way of analyzing have to be different. You have to go into the depth of the situation. You have to you have to bring a kind of maturity in your thought process. So these things are very much important. I'm giving another example. For example, you see that recently a bomb blast has happened, and here the most of the terrorists are from the Islam religion. Some common people might say that all the Islams are terrorists. But if you are a UPSC aspirant, your way of analyzing, your way of thinking have to be different from that common person, because you have to consider this under the guidance of secularism of Indian constitution, under the guidance of tolerance of Indian society. Right. For example, rapist. A common person will demand that a rapist should be instantly hanged by public. But as a UPSC aspirant, you cannot agree to this situation, agree to this logic. Right, because your way of thinking, your way of analyzing have to go into the depth of the society. Right, so if as an administrator, your way of thinking, your way of analyzing have to be based on particular kind of traits under constitution, ethical views, society points, administrative points of view. So you have to be different from a common person. Different from common person, not in the sense not in the sense of status or knowledge, but in the sense of way of thinking, way of analyzing. Right. Then the next point is that adopting a habit of observation. As a UPSC aspirant, you have to observe every minute thing. Because if you do not adopt this practice, then you will not be able to clear the exam. Because in prelims, generally what happens, some particular kind of questions are asked which are based on very minute details. When you read a paper, or when you are reading an NCERT book, you have to go beyond the lines. You have to pick up every little point, that why this has been said. What is the background behind this? You have to know the background behind each incident, whether it is from current affairs or whether it is NCERT. And when you have a power of observation, when you have widened your eyes always open, then you will be able to understand the different perspectives. Right, and you will be able to cope up with the dynamic perspective of UPSC. Then another important thing is that adopting a habit of interconnection. Interconnection means you have to find out an interlinkage. An interlinkage means what? When an incident happens, an incident is never isolated. When anything happens, it is never isolated. Right, a situation or a problem is always surrounded by a lot of things. For example, rapist. Why a rapist is born? What are the causes behind the rapist? Is it because of the mentality that has been imprinted on mind during our childhood? Or is it because of the globalization? Or is it because of any other economic factors? Right, in this way, one situation, one problem is interlinked with with other factors. Right, as a UPSC aspirant, you have to know this interconnectivity, links among the things which are happening around you. Right, that means you have to adopt a particular kind of interconnectivity. You have to consider a particular situation. You have to consider a particular problem under the guidance of various dimensions or various perspectives. Right, this is very important. And another important point here is that what you think must have to be logical and transparent. Because on this habit, your decision making power and problem solving character is dependent. As an administrator, what you think should be clear, what message you want to send to the concerned authority, to the people, right? It must have to be clear and transparent. And on this logic, your decision making power and problem solving power is also based. So as a UPSC aspirant, what you have habits you have to adopt, the way you have to think every day must have to be changed. It has to come under the guidance of constitution, ethical viewpoints, society points, administrative viewpoints, etc. The way you have been analyzed this situation must be different from the common person. You have to adopt a particular kind of observation. You have to adopt this habit of observing anything, why it happens, how it happens, what is the background behind this happening. You have to adopt a particular kind of interconnection. In this 21st century, problems are going to be difficult day by day. A problem is not alone. A problem is caused by various reasons. A problem brings various reasons. A problem happens for various reasons. So as an administrator, you have to understand the interlinkages of various factors. As an administrator, your decision must have to be logical, transparent. What you want to say must have to be clear-cut. Right, because on this basis, you have to take a very much clear-cut decision. And problem-solving character is also dependent on this habit. Then, last but not the least, there are two more important things. These two rules are very important. Always be obedient to these rules. You have to be a law-obedient citizen. That means if something is happening, you have to consider it always under the guidance of the constitution and law. Then as an administrator, you cannot say that let's go protest, right? Because it helps democracy. No, you have to think whether this protest comes under the guidance of the constitution, whether this is true in respect to the constitution, right? That means what? You have to adopt a practice of thinking under the constitution, right? Another important thing is that you have to be a person who have trust on political system, who have trust on constitution, and who have respect to some healthy traits of Indian culture. That means as a result of this, as a whole, you have to be a very optimist person in respect of our political system, in respect of constitution, in respect of the healthy traits of Indian culture. Right? You have to thinking a habit of you have to adopt a habit of thinking everything under a particular criteria, and this criteria comes in perspective of constitution, in perspective of Indian society, or anything which is related to syllabus. Your way of thinking must have to be logical, transparent. Your observation power must have to be sharp, right? Whatever you are saying, whatever you are writing, whatever you want to convey to the examiner, to the people, to the society must have to be clear-cut and transparent. You must have to adopt an in-depth analyzing power. Your way of thinking has to be different in some perspectives from the way of thinking by common people. So these are some common rules which will help you to adopt a particular kind of thought process for UPSC exam. Hope this video will help. I will come again with another video. Till then, take care of your health, take care of your study, and bye-bye.